Good morning. Hi there. I'm so excited to talk to you today because we're going to talk about what the heck is present-centered parenting. And hold on, got to get this live set up. There's a learning curve here, y'all. Okay. Um, because next week I think we'll run a little 5-day challenge and we will make tickets available for a few people who want to work closely with us and do the 5 steps of becoming a present-centered parent, which means that instead of talking to your kids about Jesus, you're talking to your kids like Jesus. And what that means is not that you're extra nice and over functioning and fixing their feelings. It means you mean yes when you say yes, and you mean no when you say no. And you have value for yourself. So you do this kind of mic drop stuff where you're like, this is how it's going to be. And you let them work out how they feel about it. And then you could even help them work out how they feel about it when they're ready to learn. How many of you know that Jesus doesn't help us work on something until we're ready to learn? The God I serve, he does not try to teach me something by the Holy Spirit is not like, hey, listen. He doesn't wake me up in the morning. He's like, I got something to tell you. Although he probably does have something to tell me, my experience of him is that he's ready to talk when I'm ready to listen. Do you know what I'm talking about? These are the ways you can interact with your kids instead of your mouth steering your life. So you promises over your kids like, hey, you're going to be the head and not the tail. That's a great idea. But what would be cooler is if your kid experienced being the head and not the tail. What would be cooler is if they were in touch with the Holy Spirit inside of them because you are in touch with the Holy Spirit inside of you and you're echoing his message to them on the day in and day out. Because how many of you know God's not talking to us in the regular stuff? How exciting is this? Does it make anybody else excited? When I talk about this, I could like lift off my chair with enthusiasm. See, I learned how to treat my kids the way Christ treats me because he's the ultimate discipler. And the way that Christ treats me is he gives me the truth. I wish I was holding my Bible. I got to start bringing it over to this live stream spot. He gives us the truth. Pretend I'm holding my Bible right here. And then he lets us make decisions. And then we run into bad outcomes when we don't listen to the truth. We don't bury it in our heart. And we run into beautiful, creative, supernatural outcomes when we do apply the truth. And people who are wise get the truth from the Lord and come back for more and more and more. And you can have kids like that. When my kids go through something at school, say they're feeling insecure or a bullying issue is happening or something, they come to me hungry for wisdom because they have applied the wisdom I've given them before and they want more because it went well. How many of you want your kids to want wisdom from you? I'm telling you, there is a way that you can make that happen. And it's actually a lot more fun than being responsible for their obedience and trying to overfunction and overwork them into being good. Okay. I'm going to talk just briefly today about the old way of doing things and the new way of doing things. And these might not be true for you exactly how you're doing the old way, but in the old way of getting kids to obey, my writing is fun, so I'll read it to you. But you could see old and new. In the old way, for example, maybe they're spanking. But in the new way, instead of a spanking, when I feel like my kids are at that place where they need a limit, I get to go do some thinking and come up with something that they can experience that isn't directly me having a reaction to what happened, but them creating an outcome for themselves that they don't like. You know why? Because I want them thinking. So instead of spanking, I get to do thinking. I like that better. I don't know how many of you like that better, but instead of being angry, I have iced tea. I'm not kidding. When I start to feel mad, I pour myself a cold beverage and I go chill and I sort out what am I so mad about? Because you know something about Jesus is he doesn't take anything personally, nothing at all. So I go have fun, get a book and some iced tea, and I calm down and I think about, is this making me angry because it tells me something that isn't true about me? Is it personal? Or am I angry because I want better for them? And if that's it, what do I want to do that's going to help them see that? I want them thinking about their outcomes less than I'm thinking about their outcomes. You get what I'm saying? So I get to have iced tea. So far, it's pretty good. The new way includes some thinking and some iced tea. I'm liking it better than spanking and being angry so far. Okay. The next one says dragging people, like trying to make them do stuff, dragging people into things versus having fun. When I want my kids to engage something that's good for them, I go have fun doing it so that they actually want to come be part of it. It is way better. I don't know how to tell you this, how much better it is to go have fun working in the kitchen than it is to drag people through working in the kitchen. Now, are there outcomes for them not participating? You better believe it, because truth is truth, baby. Okay. Next thing is, instead of over functioning, like doing too much stuff for everybody, like I feel sad for them, so I better go clean their room, or like sitting and listening to long circular feelings before someone really wants to do anything different or learn something. I don't do any over functioning anymore. Instead, it says I get paid and I go party. Doesn't that sound better? Get paid, go party. So far we have thinking, I see having fun, getting paid, and going to party. And when I wrote get paid and go party, I meant instead of trying to get my kids to do the dishes or convince them that they should make a different decision, I sometimes will actually offer to do their chores for them. The truth about life is, if you don't want to clean your house, you got to pay somebody to do that. And we are team family at my house, so they can actually pay me on days to do what they don't want to do. That's fine with me. And then I go have fun doing it. So that's what that means. Are you getting how much lighter this feels to be present with love? I'm just like present with God, present with truth, present with love, honest about how I feel, letting my yes be yes and my no be no. And the vibe is like so positive compared to like spanking people, getting angry and dragging them into things, and then over functioning for them, hoping that it's going to become them working harder. How many of you know over functioning for somebody is not the way you get them to work harder? Leaving them with the responsibility and good things on the other side of doing it is how you get people to work harder. So it's actually you do less. Okay. And then the last one I wrote on here when I was just brainstorming real quick was in the old way, you're trying to teach people things, but in the new way, you just get to learn. So when my kids are not ready to learn, that means it's my turn to learn, because someone in a present-centered relationship is learning. So if they are not doing their schoolwork and they're dragging their feet about it and it's becoming a bummer, instead of trying to teach them about the value of schoolwork before they're ready to learn something, because I'm gonna let you in on a ninja secret, people who don't want to learn something aren't gonna learn something. Okay, their will has to be engaged. It's kind of like one of the core pillars here. But when they don't want to do something and I'm tempted to teach them something they don't want to learn, which no fun, we've all been there. That's no fun. I put my learning cap on and I start to think, what's going on in their head? And I go ask specific and strategic questions to learn about what they do think about school. See, I need to know what my son thinks about his academics if I'm ever going to teach him anything about doing it better, trying harder, right? I got to know if he thinks it's useless and why does he think it's useless? I got to know what he thinks he'll use it for in the future, or whether he thinks he won't use it for anything. I got to know if his trouble is actually with doing the consistent, boring thing, or if his trouble is with math because he's never memorized his multiplication table. And I'll just help him do that. And then everything will get easier. See how much I have to learn before I can lead him well. And then I have a target to hit. If I know it's about he's frustrated that consistency and discipline is how you achieve something and he needs to flex that muscle, I know where to go with him and how to lead him. So, I mean, I'm looking at this from where I stand with 3 amazing, respectful, responsible kids who do their chores every day and run their own homeschool day. And so like our time together is like we get to have fun. Our time together is like heart to heart talks. Our time together is like getting to know each other's true identity and supporting each other in that, instead of mom is managing the chaos and managing everybody's workload and keeping the house emotionally and practically held together. Instead of that, I'm doing things this new way. I'm thinking, I'm drinking iced tea, I'm having fun, I'm getting paid, I'm going to party, and I'm a learner. I would so much rather be curious and learning about my kids than trying to shove information down their throat that they don't want. Now, listen, if the new way is looking pretty good to you, I am inviting a handful of people next week for 5 days I want to walk you through a 5-point system that will install this in your words, in your communication, and in your thinking. If that is interesting to you, there's going to be a landing page like tomorrow or Wednesday, probably. We'll put it in the description below. Probably by the end of the day, I'll put like a Google Doc that you can look at what we'll do together. I want to take just a handful of you through from old to new. And you might be wondering, like, what if my husband isn't on board? He's like a real heavy hand. He wants obedience and punishment. I'm going to tell you this. I've seen it over and over again, that people have had that concern, and that's a real thing, that people have walked out. But the truth is, when your kids start smiling and doing what you ask, because they're on your team, because you're treating them based on how capable they are and not how stupid or slow they are. You're treating them based on how responsible you know they can be and not how irresponsible they're behaving. Good fruit is going to come. And your guy is going to see the good fruit. So I'm going to make this like an affordable ticket to get into a room with me next week. We're going for 5 days straight. Can you give me an hour for 5 days in a row and transform your parenting from angry and no fun and exhausting and confusing to knowing exactly what your boundaries are and drinking iced tea and learning about people and having fun while you equip disciples of Jesus, where when they are presented with an opportunity to follow Jesus, they will do that because they know how he feels, because you've been treating them that way the whole time. Do you get what I'm saying? They're going to recognize Jesus by the way you treat them. And they're going to recognize that they want to follow him because following you has worked out pretty good. Yeah. If this is you, I want you to type challenge in the chat, because I'm going to challenge your thinking and help you come to new thinking so that it naturally flows out of you in just 5 days. If that sounds fun, let's please do it together. And if it doesn't, thank you for making room for the people who are going to come do it, because it's going to be, I've never done this before, actually, like on the outside of the academy, and I'm really looking forward to it. So I'll be sending out a bunch of emails today, and I'm going to look for a few people to do this with next week. And I think it's going to be a real blast. So if that's you, please say challenge in the comments and I'll know. I'll reach out to you and get a hold of you. And if it's not you, just keep listening, because we're going to keep talking about these things on this channel. I hope that you feel encouraged today. I want you to know there is another way to do things. You don't have to be confused or overwhelmed or wondering what the rules should be and struggling with following through. You can know exactly who you are and have like this kind of catch me if you can vibe as a mom and have so much fun raising people who want to follow your lead. I want that for you so much. So if you want that too, challenge is the best way to get going on that today. I'm going to see you tomorrow. Alyssa will be back here with me at 9 a.m. PST. And then I think what we're going to do is probably break down why it's called presence. What is present-centered parenting? What does it mean to be present? What does it mean to be centered? I remember thinking as a young mom, like, if I could be centered, that would be everything. Let's talk about presence, God's presence, your kids' presence. Let's talk about being centered, and let's talk about what being a parent really means. Isn't that funny? Let's actually break that word down. Okay, I hope to see you tomorrow. That's going to be fun.